Hi, I'm Charlie, and this is Cooking with Milwaukee Community Leaders. Cooking with Milwaukee Community Leaders is available both as a podcast, wherever you get great podcasts, and on video on our YouTube channel, Cooking Secrets for Men. So today, my guest is Dr. Nadiyah Johnson.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
So Nadiyah is the CEO of the Milky Way Tech Hub and its parent company, Jet Constellations. She is on the list from Biz Times, the 30 people affecting or shaping Milwaukee's future.
That's right.
Last year, she was recognized by Milwaukee Magazine and our Women of Distinction. And she is on the list of the Wisconsin 275, which is Wisconsin's most influential business leaders. And accolades keep pouring in, so congratulations.
Okay.
So we'll get to the Tech Hub and Jet in just a minute, but let's start where we usually start, at the beginning. So talk a little bit about your growing up years, your early years, leading up to heading to college.
You know what? When I was a little girl, I always liked to tinker around with things and break stuff, which is not uncommon for engineers, right?
Uh-huh.
You hear that sort of background for many engineers. But, you know, my father was in the field of computer science. He was a software engineer. And he would always be
Who do you work for?
I think, his most recent was BMO.
Okay.
But then Children's Hospital, Harley, and before
So he's been around in the area.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And so he would always be breaking apart computers, and I would be so interested. I'd look down, I'm like, what is that? They look like little cities, the little hardware that he'd have around. And that always interested me. But I really didn't get into the field of computer science until later on. So if you had met me in high school, you'd see me more than likely carrying around a Rubik's Cube. And I was just obsessed with that thing. I really was. I had to get it. And so I spent most of my classes not necessarily listening to teachers, but trying to figure out that Rubik's Cube. And eventually I got it to like 1 minute and 40 seconds.
Wow.
Well, yeah, wow.
I can't do that quick
until you
with
go on
directions.
YouTube and you see somebody do it in 10 seconds,
Right.
you know. But I was, super obsessed with that. And by the time I got to college, my father remembered, like, hey, you're pretty good with that Rubik's Cube. That might mean you're good with algorithms. You might want to try your hand in computer science. And so it was, my curiosity and me following things that I was really passionate and interested in that sort of helped, my father to sort of see in me the skill sets that I would need to be successful in computer science. And I think that really speaks to the importance of representation. I had my father who was a guide in my life, him being a part of or being in the field of computer science. That level of representation guided me into that field. So representation matters.
Good. Just come a little teeny bit closer to me.
Sure. Yeah.
I did take a shower. So let's move on to college. So you went to Marquette. You got bachelor's.
Yep.
A master's. And a doctorate.
I sure did.
So my question is, as a teenager entering Marquette University,
Yeah.
was a doctorate something you were thinking of?
Oh, not at all. Not at all. It's so funny because when I first started my college career, I was actually majoring in international politics. Super interested in politics.
Oh, yeah.
But I remember,
Cool.
my dad was like, why did Jesse James rob the bank? Do you know the answer to that?
That's where the money is.
That's where the money is.
Right.
So I said, where are you going with this? And that was sort of how he sort of led me into the field of computer science. He was, kind of seeing like, all right, you're going to want to be able to pay off some of these student loans when you get out. And computer science is a very lucrative field. So he sort of made that pitch. And so I'll be honest, I got into the field of computer science because I wanted to make money. And, it's a lucrative field. But I stayed because of the level of impact that I knew that I could make by supporting others that look like me and getting into the field, but also through the research that I started to do throughout my master's career as well. So, I absolutely did not expect to even find myself in such a technical field, but getting into the field of computer science, life-changing, one of the best decisions that I've made so far.
So your dad was a visionary.
Yeah.
Because if you were probably, I don't want to guess when you started going to school, but when your dad was working, the technology was something that was needed in companies, but it wasn't looked at as the future. It was we got to have somebody who can
and back
run the
office
computer.
guy,
Right.
back office guy. And then by the time I got in there, my first big girl job, right, at GE Healthcare, they were going through this digital transformation around 2016. And that's when I started to realize that, we aren't the back office guys. We're actually leading this thing. We're in the front. We're in the driver's seat, supporting companies and making pathways to the future. So he was in a way very much a visionary.
Yeah.
But that's how I got into the field of computer science. But since I was a very little girl, I was working alongside my mother at Juneteenth festivals, passing out brochures, bringing awareness to her
Keeping
business.
that political part of it.
Well, my mother had a business, so Cindy Johnson Insurance Agency,
Okay.
and so it was just getting off the ground when I was like 4 or 5 years old. And so she had me networking, passing out business
At
cards.
4?
Yeah, you better believe it, licking envelopes and everything. Okay, so I definitely got that business acumen from her. And so in a way, we kind of follow our parents' footsteps, right? So
Sure.
definitely ended up in the tech space, but that business side, definitely from my mother.
So let's talk about your early career. And you said GE Healthcare. So did you work with Michael Barber? For Michael Barber?
Oh, well, not exactly for Michael
Well,
Barber.
because he was he's up here somewhere.
But shout out to Michael Barber, okay? Because let me give you a little story. So Michael Barber actually is a family friend. So he's a good friend of my uncle. And
Great guy.
yep. And so here's the thing. I did, for whatever reason, I wasn't extremely aware that GE was just like right in my backyard, right? And I don't know if it's because, I was just like bogged down with like, schoolwork or whatever. And I ended up going to Grace Hopper, one of the largest, I think it is the largest women in computing conferences in the nation, like Disney World for geeks like me. I went there and they were interviewing people and hiring people on the spot. And so, I'm going to every single booth and I make it to GE. And I see a woman, I believe her name was Susan Gordon Barker, my first eventually boss. And she sees that, she takes my resume, she sees that I'm from, Milwaukee. She's like, what are you doing here in Texas? She's like, geez, right in your backyard. And I'm just like, yeah, okay. And so I name dropped Michael Barber. And that helped me to get it in. So that's my little story with Michael. And so, while, I didn't get a chance to work closely with him, I am grateful for the work that he did at GE Healthcare and the pathways that he carved for people like me.
So off camera, we'll talk about the Barbers because they're good friends also.
Oh, okay.
So early, so you wind through your early career. You GE Health, you're several places, and then eventually, I think it's been about 7 years.
Yeah,
You've had your
approaching 8 years.
So 8
Crazy.
years, you've had your own thing going on. So talk a little bit about both Jet and starting the Milky Way Tech Hub.
Yep. So I started Jet Constellations and Milky Way late 2017. Simultaneously.
Okay.
Yep. And while I was working at GE Healthcare, which was fun. Okay. And so the reality is, I started hearing buzz. Oh, there's so many different companies. Or different parties that are interested in making Milwaukee a tech hub. And at the time, around 2017, if you type the words Black and Milwaukee into Google, some of the worst kind of statistics popped up saying it's the worst place for Milwaukee, or for Black people to live, work, and play. And at the same time, it just challenged me. I struggled with the reality that there were folks that were really creating a tech hub type of narrative. Wow, it feels like we were, in this tales of two cities. I didn't like that. So that's why I said, well, if we're going to, make Milwaukee a tech hub, I want to make sure that folks that like me had the ability to really thrive. And so Jet Constellations initially started as a consulting firm. It quickly evolved into a software firm because I realized that folks didn't necessarily have what I would call like the technical acumen necessary to bring their brilliant ideas to life. And with that being said, I said, well, then, you know what? I'm going to take the tech skills that I have and help and support people to build out their software concepts or companies. And eventually, that's what helped me to realize there needs to be a social impact arm, and that's where Milky Way Tech Hub came in.
Okay. So I'm assuming, maybe I shouldn't assume, that you have a partnership with Sherman Phoenix, and is that part of the Tech Hub?
So, yes. So that's part of the work that comes under Milky Way Tech Hub.
Okay.
Milky Way, overarching goal is to realize the vision that Milwaukee is like this renowned tech hub, specifically the one where Black and brown folks can thrive. And within our focus, we We prioritize 3 pillars: STEM education and workforce, entrepreneurship, and community, in order to bring this vision to life. And so our recent partnership with the Sherman Phoenix, where we are looking to educate around 100 or so Black businesses about artificial intelligence and emerging technology, that falls very well under our STEM education and workforce pillar.
And also Sherman Phoenix. I mean, they're part of trying to uplift the community and provide opportunity. So this is providing opportunity for people who can use it and need it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, artificial intelligence is such an incredibly important topic right now. It's a revolutionary technology. I'm one of the bold ones to compare it to electricity and the way that it's changing every single aspect of our lives, right? It's kind of hard to even take a look at any one field that isn't leveraging it, right? And so it's important that our communities are not just playing a passive role, right? History repeats itself.
Sure.
And I don't want our data to just be collected and then used to profit entities without us getting any sort of piece of the pie. And so the question becomes, how do we become more active participants of this new AI economy? And that's really something that I'm trying to solve.
Well, I was a latecomer, but I use it all the time, and I have part of the programs that I use for editing use AI. For the podcast, you throw it in there, and it'll clean everything up, and it'll write you a nice blurb about what what you guys talked about.
It's incredible.
It is. So, well, the work that you are doing and spearheading is sorely needed. It just is, because where the technology is going. And as your dad is a visionary, could probably have told you, it's important to be on the forefront as opposed to trying to catch up.
Oh, absolutely. And, shout out to my dad and my mom for, still being in the fold. If you come to a Milky Way Tech Hub meetup, you likely will see my mother and my father in the background. You know what? He asks me that every day. He's recently retired.
Okay.
And so he's, ready to get to work on all the things. And so I could definitely see me and my father working alongside each other, and it feels like that would be fitting.
That'd be pretty cool. That'd be, as a retired person, you can pretty much say, yeah, I'm not coming in today.
Yeah, And then as my father, of course, so that's where I'm just like, you really want to work? but yes, he was quite the visionary. He's always, texting me articles about the latest AI model and things like that. And so it's
a good resource.
Very much so.
All right. So we call this Serious People with Serious Jobs Having a Little Fun. We're going to have a little fun today. Okay. So I'll give you one of these aprons because you're dressed so nicely.
Oh.
So what are we making today?
We are making Crunchwrap Supreme.
Okay.
But let me let you in on a secret.
Okay.
So I started.
I think this apron is as big as you are.
It is pretty big. That's a good thing. So, I started getting on the vegetarian sort of kick a couple years ago. The first month of each year I would be vegetarian. So I started to get these vegetarian recipes. And I stumbled upon Crunchwrap Supreme. It wasn't until recently that I told somebody, I'm making Crunchwrap Supreme. And they were like, that's a Taco Bell recipe. I said, what? Taco Bell? I knew nothing of the sort. And so I've never had Taco Bell before, and I just want people to know that. I thought that I came up with the term Crunchwrap Supreme. Apparently, this is a popular menu item on Taco Bell's menu. So that's what we're going to be making today.
Good. Well, I'm with you. I've never been to Taco. I shouldn't say I've never been to Taco Bell, but I know I've never had a Crunchwrap Supreme, and I've been to Taco Bell maybe a handful of times in my life.
I've never been, yet I'm making a special menu item.
All right, so we've done a little prep work.
Okay.
So we're going to go back in the kitchen area and put these Crunchwrap Supremes together, and then we'll be right back. All right, so here we are in the kitchen. We're making our Crunchwrap Supreme. Yes. That neither one of us has been to Taco Bell. So we made it up, except for we found it. Anyway, so Nadiyah, take it away.
Okay, so the first thing that I like to do is to mix up the vegetables. The vegetables have to meet.
All right, so we put a little olive oil in.
Just a little.
There we go. So olive as usual, coming to the show. We love olive. So this is a can of black beans.
Just some black beans.
We drained it.
Drained black beans.
All right.
Next up, we're gonna put in our tomatoes.
These are some diced tomatoes.
Diced tomatoes.
There we go.
Thank you. Crushed red peppers.
All right, so we got some.
We like a little spice.
All right.
Okay. So I can mix it up just a little bit.
Wow. That's good.
Looks great. And some drained corn.
All right, that's a can of corn. A little sweet corn.
Super easy recipe here.
So we got our veggies in.
We're just gonna turn this down on low.
So most of the stuff is already cooked, so we're just warming it.
We're warming it up, yeah.
Okay.
The ingredients are meeting each other right now. But a very, very simple recipe.
Okay.
So then we are going to need some sweet potatoes. The sweet potatoes need to be microwaved and or cooked down.
They've been microwaved, so they're fairly soft.
They're fairly soft, so then they can go in?
Yes.
Okay, so then we're going to add our diced sweet potatoes.
So the sweet potatoes, we did microwave them. We diced them and microwaved them for a couple of minutes, so they're not mushy,
ready to go.
but they're softer.
They're softer, okay, and that'll be fine. It'll warm up.
Yeah.
If you would like to add some extra protein, you can add ground turkey, ground beef, whatever you're liking.
And we're going turkey.
We're doing turkey, and
Alrighty.
we're going to do that now. Do you?
Yeah. So we've got a pan heated. We're gonna put a little more olive in.
Just a little bit more. We love us some olive.
All right.
Okay. All right. That's so cute. By the
Thank
way.
you, Olive.
Thank you, Olive. Okay.
And then,
And we'll just
well, this is smoking already.
already smoking. Okay. So.
So we're cooking it's about a pound of ground turkey with a little oil. And then we're going to put some flavors in just a minute. We have the taco seasoning, we got some chili powder, we got some, this is from my son's New Mexico red chili powder.
Yeah, and
Salt,
so,
pepper.
you can get taco seasoning from the store,
We got all
basic.
kinds.
Like me, I like, Ortega or whatever. If you don't have taco seasoning, you can make it at home. Paprika.
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen.
Pepper.
We have a guest.
How you doing?
Oh,
Come on over here.
You didn't tell me Antoine was gonna be here.
Antoine Carter.
How you doing?
Come on in.
How you doing?
Why did you tell me you were gonna be here?
I came to show some
Now I'm nervous.
No. So Antoine, why don't you stir? We'll put Antoine to work.
Yeah.
Wash my hands. Wash my hands.
Antoine was here a few weeks ago, and he's threatened to come back, and
I did.
so here he is. That's great. So Nadiyah, we're making Crunchwrap Supreme,
We are.
Nice.
and so if Antoine, I can get you to kind of stir the veggies so they don't stick.
Whatever you need.
And there's a couple spoons right there. Just
Perfect. Ooh, I want to use this split-in one.
there you go. All right. So that's two of our emerging community leaders.
How are you?
That's right. I'm doing great.
You guys go ahead and talk. I'm just here in the background.
I'm so surprised to see you. You did not tell me you were gonna be here.
Well, it wouldn't be a surprise then.
No. No, I was actually mentioning, I told somebody I was making a Crunchwrap Supreme. They were like, Taco Bell? And I've never been to Taco Bell. So I thought.
I support that statement. I support that statement.
So we're still cooking this down. So as I was mentioning, you can make your own taco seasoning, right, with paprika,
Right.
chili peppers, chili powder, all that's good stuff, right? Or just purchase it. And so then the next step is super basic. So we're just going to add taco seasoning
Okay.
to this pan. Typically, I add the taco seasoning to my vegetable mix.
Okay.
And when I do use ground turkey, I also add a packet of taco seasoning to this as well. I see we only have one packet here, so that's fine. We can use the other.
That's just regular old chili powder.
Okay, so we can just
Just
improvise here
yeah.
a little bit.
Should I
And-
keep
We're just
starting?
making it up as we go.
Making it up as we go.
Because, you know, Taco Bell's not doing this. I can tell you that.
Right. We're coming for Taco Bell, okay?
That's right. So, Antoine, what brings you out this morning other than you said you were going to come to some
You know
more
what's
shows?
funny is, I owed you a trip. I told you I was coming, and you're cool people, so.
Well, I appreciate that. So I have to tell you that, so Joanne Anton, who you may or may not know, so Joanne has been on the show twice. And she's going to be on another time, so I'm going to start the 3 Timers Club. So, so Antoine, you're knocking on the door.
Yes.
So you're welcome here anytime. Nadiyah, you also. I don't know how many times we're going to have Taco Bell.
Well, bring me back for Thanksgiving so I can make some Thanksgiving recipes.
right.
I don't want folks thinking I'm over here just making Taco Bell recipes.
You know, I'm just here to help. I like being in this part where I'm just being told to stir. Like, just
Doing a good job there.
Right?
All right, so we're going to put in our seasonings.
Yeah, so let's go ahead.
That's my own concoction: salt, pepper, garlic,
salt,
onion.
pepper, garlic, onion. I like it. Let's do it.
Yeah, so it's all just I like all of them, so I just kind of put it in.
Okay.
We're seasoning the meat.
We're seasoning the meat with our own sort of special taco seasoning.
That's the New Mexico red chili, which
How you feel about it?
That's fine. My son lived in Santa Fe, and he used to send it to me all the time. So, get a little New Mexico red. That's a little heat.
There we go. And then I think, depending on how soft those sweet potatoes were.
They were pretty soft.
Oh, they're pretty soft?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Then we might be ready to go ahead and just add the taco seasoning
Okay.
to my vegetable mix. And
Oh,
All right.
Antoine, I got another job.
Yes. All right. Should I pour the whole thing?
Yes. You're going to put the
the
whole one in there.
whole thing, yeah.
Going to season the vegetables with taco powder. All right. And
Antoine, why don't you take like a little bit and put in here too?
Okay. Just a
Appreciate
little.
just like that.
Just a
Thank
little.
you. Just
And
so
then
we
put
can
the rest back in here?
Yes, sir. You got it.
Oh, look at this.
You're the
Teamwork.
boss.
Teamwork makes the what?
Dream
Makes
work.
the dream work. You got it, dude.
And the best part is that I'm just sitting here making jokes.
He puts us to work.
Do what you're good at, as they say.
I'm stirring the vegetables. I can do that.
All right.
These look really nice.
So
As a mixture.
the key part of ground turkey, as you know, is get all the pink out. So we got all the pink, well,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Getting the pink out.
Yeah, so that's what you want to do. So, all right, so we're going to finish this up, and then we're going to put the tortillas together. So give us a minute, and we'll be right back to start that process. All right, so we're getting ready with the...
Antoine, come over
Antoine
here.
might need some help.
Okay, here I come.
So we're putting Antoine back to work. So we're going to put our Crunchwrap Supremes together. We got a little butter.
We're getting the butter on the pan,
All right. And then we're going to
And we're gonna lay our tortilla, excuse me.
All right, so we got tortilla first. Antoine, if you want to put a tortilla on the butter right there.
Okay.
All right, so we're going dueling tortillas.
Dual tortilla.
All right. So we got nice smattering of veggies.
Our veggie mix.
All right.
And then it really is just dependent on like what it is that you like, right?
Okay.
We've got our sweet potatoes already mixed in.
Right.
But what I've done in the past is I've just heated up a whole sweet potato and just taken the mash out and
Ooh.
slapped it on as well, and it's just
Okay.
as good.
That'd be easy.
Yep. And then you take your ground beef, if that's something that you're interested in, and you layer it in there just like
All right.
that.
So putting okay.
And then, of course, you want to also
Gotta have cheese.
take
We're in
in-
Wisconsin, and so the combinations. We got cheese going on top of the ground turkey, on top of the veggies, on the tortilla, on
That's
one
right.
half.
on one half.
All right.
Yep. And you know what, Antoine? You should be doing the same. What I also like to do is to
So put a little.
to add a little salsa in the mix, just
Okay.
just a little bit,
So what
just
name
a
is that?
little bit,
I will
just like
start
that.
working on this one.
All right, so Antoine's putting the veggies over on the other side. So you put it on one half. All right. It's starting to bubble a little bit, so I might want to turn this down.
Yeah.
All right, so we've flipped this
cheese?
one, and Antoine's going to put a little cheese on the other Crunchwrap Supreme that's not from Taco Bell,
That's
because we just
not.
made this up.
That's true. Yeah.
All right, so Antoine, why don't you tamp that down slightly? Use that, just, yeah, and then we'll cut it, push it in half. There you go.
Make sure it's on that side.
There you go.
Here you go, boss lady.
And so then, yeah, so you close it up, and then you just wait for it to get nice and toasty and crunchy.
All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to finish making these. We do have an audience that we need to feed, and Antoine, as a special guest, will be joining us. So give us a minute to finish off the Crunchwrap Supremes. I'll be right back. All right, here we are. Antoine's joining us, and Tom is back there. So, Nadiyah, tell us what we got here.
We've got our Crunchwrap Supreme, definitely not stolen from Taco Bell.
That's right. So it's got ground turkey.
Ground turkey, sweet potato, corn, red pepper, cheese, cheddar cheese, and
Black beans.
Black beans. Beautiful.
All right. All right, so let's go ahead and, Antoine, I'm going to ask you if you could serve. And we got some accoutrement. We've got some extra salsa. We've got some guacamole and a little sour cream.
Sour cream.
All right. So we serve Tom first for some reason.
Tom's great.
Not sure why. The guest should be
I'm
next.
sorry.
All right.
He was closer. You want this?
That'd be great. So, did you like this one?
Sure.
Well, you had mentioned that you like the...
Yes, I do.
Okay, well, that's yours then. I'll eat anything, so it doesn't really matter. All right, so, Nadiyah, you need to come to me.
We are.
There we go. Okay. All right, so...
Yum. Bon appetit.
There we go. Napkin on my lap. Da-da-da.
Fancy, fancy.
I like to cut mine in half.
Tom, are you going to start? You can start.
I'm going to see how you eat it.
I'm going to cut it in half.
I cut mine in half. I put a little salsa on my plate like that, like so. What is
Pass
it?
the guac there.
Sure. What does Tabitha Brown say, Antoine? Like that, like so like that. And I like to do a little quick dip, just like this. You know, you dip
Guacamole.
it.
Antoine, you want a guacamole?
No.
Tom, you want guacamole?
What do they have the salsa?
Salsa? Okay.
I am not team guac. Don't hate me, guys.
Nadiyah, could you pass me the sour cream? I need.
Absolutely.
Gotta have a little sour cream. You're disappearing from the screen.
I am. Sorry.
There you go.
I got into
I cut
my
mine into thirds like a
normal person.
quesadilla.
All right, let's see what we got here. All right, Antoine. Next time you come, you need to bring your apron.
Yeah. I will.
Antoine's aiming to be in the 3-Timers Club,
Yes.
so this counts as a time on the show.
I did not know I was going to help.
Absolutely. If you show up, you're going to help. So,
So I
forewarned is forearmed.
noted.
They're really good.
Yeah. And an easy dish to make, right?
I think Taco Bell will be calling you.
Or we'll run them out of business. One.
I go to.
I'm gonna grab some.
I am a fan of heat. Like, I like a good lingering heat.
Yeah.
So, if it's hot, that's fine with me.
You have a napkin right there, but
Oh, here?
yes.
It was so fancy.
You may use the fancy napkin.
Oh no, where I'm from, it's for show. Get my butt beat for using the fancy napkins, but you know.
I'm gonna use the the go-to napkin when you don't have any fancy napkins. So
I like
so
it.
before, well, you're going ahead and take another bite. So before you take another bite, thanks so much for dropping by. Great to see you as always.
Always.
Pleasure. And Nadiyah, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. learning about the Milky Way Tech Hub, about how AI influences just about everything we do in life in one form or another, and making this incredibly creative and not stolen from any fast food place ever. Just made it up on the spot.
On the spot.
So thanks so much for supporting Cooking with Milwaukee Community Leaders. Each week we talk to one of our community leaders, in this case two, about the work that's being done to make our city a better place. And then we cook something, and then we eat it. So thanks so much. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Cooking with Milwaukee Community Leaders. Cooking with Milwaukee Community Leaders is brought to you by Cooking Secrets for Men, LLC, and was recorded in the 3rd Ward in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We feature and profile community leaders who are trying to make Milwaukee a better place. The tagline is, serious people with serious jobs having a little fun. Our guests choose the recipes that we use on the show. All of our podcasts are available on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get great podcasts. The original YouTube video for this episode is available on our YouTube channel, Cooking Secrets for Men, all rights reserved. Thanks, and see you next time on Cooking with Milwaukee Community Leaders.